Redacted Sports Week 4. The Falcons take on the Washington football team. Falcons and the football team have both had issues starting off their season, with a combined record of 2-4. Both offensive have had their issues, as have the defenses. The Washington football team defense, which was expected to be a top-of-the-line defense, hasn't performed to expectations. I don't think either team scores many points, as the offenses are dealing with injured players. I think Washington football team covers the minus 1.5 points and under 47.5 points. The Buffalo Bills versus the Houston Texans. The Bills have to cover a spread of 17 points. That's an insane number. The Texans have had a surprising amount of success, but that is based on the success of Brandon Cooks spreading the defense. The Bills' secondary will be able to slow him down. They're quite talented. Other receivers will need to create opportunities to stretch the defense. The Bills' offense will put up points. The Texans are good, but the Bills are phenomenal. As Sanders gets up to speed, Josh Allen will have plenty of targets, and assuming the Bills' run game is also able to continue the strong start to the season, this will be a long day for the Texans' defense. I think the Bills somehow cover the minus 17 and over 47 points. The Bears versus the Lions. The Chicago Bears had one total passing yard last week. Justin Fields was sacked so many times, the number was reduced to a single yard. The Lions' defense might not be on that level, but expect little to no resistance from the Bears' offensive line. The Lions' offense has been feeding Swift, and it's been working. It might be more difficult this week, as the Bears' linebackers are some of the most talented in the game, but between Hawk and Swift, this team will be going after the Bears' middle all day. The Lions also just lost their last game to the longest field goal of all time, so they're looking to take out that frustration on the Bears. I think the Lions plus 3 and under 41.5 points. Dallas Cowboys versus the Carolina Panthers. The Cowboys' offense has had a great start to the season, but no defense has played better than the Panthers. The Panthers' offense will play without CMC in their first major test of the season. CMC provided them with close to 200 scrimmage yards a game, and it will be up to Hubbard and Freeman to make up that difference. Robbie Anderson has yet to get involved, as Sam Darnold is trying to forget everything about his time in New York, including the players. Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb look to exploit the absence of J.C. Horn for the Panthers' secondary, and Zeke and Tony Pollard will power behind the strong offensive line. This is a great offense, and they've been on fire. Cowboys minus 4.5 and over 51.5. The Indianapolis Colts versus the Miami Dolphins. The Colts and Dolphins have had massive injury issues. Both teams need time to heal. This week, expect both defenses to exploit the offenses, with Indy being able to take advantage of Jacoby Brissett in his revenge game, and the talented Dolphins secondary being able to take on whoever is throwing the ball for the Colts. The best group in this game might just be the Colts running back room, because despite Jonathan Taylor working with an injury, Hines and Marlon Mack can pick up the slack, and that might be the difference that this team needs. I think the Colts win straight up, so Colts money line and under 42. The Cleveland Browns versus the Minnesota Vikings. The Browns play the Vikings. Both teams are fantastic, with some of the best running backs in the league. The defenses will have issues with the running backs, especially into the final stretches of the third and fourth quarter. Dalvin Cook is coming into this game off an injury, and while he and the team expect him to play, the long-term health might be factored into his career, and they might limit his touches this game. The Vikings receivers have been playing incredibly well, and their tight end Conklin just had a fantastic game. The Browns just got back OBJ, and their trio of tight ends have also been playing fantastic football, which allows multiple tight end sets to be dangerous for both a run and a pass. I think the Browns win this game, so Browns minus 1 and over 51.5. The New York Giants versus the New Orleans Saints. The Giants' offense is without two of their top receivers this week, and the Saints' offense has everyone on the offense they had last week. The Giants will need to create some incredible plays, which Jones and Saquon Barkley can do to keep themselves in the game, as Jameis Winston and Alvin Kamara could run over and around this team. I think the Saints -7 and over 42. The Giants score, but not enough to keep up. The New York Jets versus the Tennessee Titans. Speaking of teams without their top receivers, the Titans will be without A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, both with leg injuries. Derrick Henry will have something close to 40 touches and could potentially get 200 scrimmage yards against this Jets defense. The Jets have one of their top receivers in Crowder back, but it's still Zach Wilson, the player who has thrown 7 picks in 3 games. Titans -6 and over 44. The Jets can and should score against this Titans defense, and Derrick Henry should run over the Jets. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chiefs and the Eagles face off in one of the most exciting offensive battles this week. The Eagles ran the ball 3 times last week, not without success, as Miles Sanders had over 6 yards per carry. For some reason, they turned away from this very successful game plan and lost the game. The Chiefs are coming off a surprising loss to the Chargers and are at the bottom of the AFC West. Teams have started forcing Mahomes to find other targets besides Kelsey and Hill, and this is causing issues for the team. The Chiefs are going to be without some of their top defensive rushers, and Hurts, while he doesn't have the greatest success throwing the ball, should see a much more balanced game plan with room to run should he be forced out of the pocket. The question comes down to, can the Eagles force Mahomes away from Kelsey and Hill? And I don't think they can. Chiefs -7, over 54.5. The Arizona Cardinals versus the Los Angeles Rams. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals face off against Matthew Stafford and the Rams. The Rams just beat the reigning champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and look to continue that win streak another week against the Cardinals. Cardinals just played the Jaguars, and the first 3 quarters were a closer game than they would have liked. The Rams' defense will attempt to contain Kyler and force him into bad throws, but this offense has 4 great receiving options and 2 good running backs to take care of the extra stress. Look for Kyler to throw for closer to 50 times in this game, as I think the Rams get on the board first. Rams -4.5, it's hard to get to bet against them right now, and over 54.5 points. These offenses have the potential to each drop 30 any given Sunday. The San Francisco 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. Another NFC West matchup, the 49ers take on the Seahawks. The 49ers will likely be without their running back room again, and Kittle is also dealing with injuries. The team will need to pull something together more than pass to Debo, because while this has worked, the Seahawks have all of their offensive starters and look to prove that Minnesota was a fluke. I think the Seahawks win straight up, so Seahawks money line and over 52. The Seahawks rarely lose 3 games in a row, and the 49ers have been mounting injuries. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Denver Broncos. The Ravens play the Broncos in a matchup where both teams have had great success against the other team's strengths. Both teams run the ball really well, and both teams play defense against the run really well. The Ravens had surprising issues against the Lions last week, and the Broncos haven't had a major test, having played the Jets, Giants, and Jaguars with a combined record of 0-10 because the Jaguars played on Thursday night. The Broncos, despite their injuries, have a good chance of winning this game, and it should come down to whichever team gets the ball last. I think the Broncos money line and under 44. I suspect a lot of field goals in this Denver stadium, especially from a kicker who just broke the NFL record for the longest kick. The Green Bay Packers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Packers play the Steelers, and it's a battle between 2 former MVPs. Aaron Rodgers has played very well, excluding Week 1, and Big Ben hasn't. The Steelers look like they gave up against the Bengals, throwing a check-down pass to a running back when it was 4th and long. The Packers are back to their old selves, throwing over everyone and running around everyone, and that will continue in this game. Packers -6.5 and over 44.5. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New England Patriots. The Buccaneers take on the Patriots in Brady's return to New England. The Buccaneers are favored by 7 and likely will win by that amount, but this is almost a perfect trap game. Mac Jones will have an assortment of running backs against a defensive line that just lost JPP, and N'Keal Harry will provide a deep ball threat against a secondary that is starting newly signed cornerback Richard Sherman due to other injuries. The Bucs should cover -7, but this is a game where New England could put some surprising points on the board, over 49.5. The Los Angeles Chargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The Chargers take on the Raiders on Monday Night Football. The Chargers look to continue the AFC West win streak, having just beaten the Chiefs, and the Raiders look to prove why they're at the top of the division. The Raiders have played in 2 games that went to overtime this season, and the Chargers have taken some major steps forward with their offense, which now aims to move the ball downfield quickly versus taking the easy underneath throws. Chargers -3 and over 51.5. I wouldn't be surprised if these teams combined scored more than 60 points.